Hey everyone, it's Scott Willison here with the Confluence Fly Shop in Bellingham, Washington, and guess what? We are going to tie another Euro Nymph pattern. This is a great, like many Euro Nymph patterns, just kind of general attractor patterns. Doesn't really look like one specific thing. Has qualities reminiscent of a caddis pupa, maybe a mayfly nymph, a little stonefly nymph. It can be whatever the fish want it to be, and it's got some lovely attractor qualities that make fish just want to gobble it up. Anyway, in my vise I have a size 14 Hanak 400 BL. And I'm doing this one with a 3mm gold Hanak slotted tungsten bead. We're going to add just a little bitty bit of 0.010 lead wire, just to give this fly some additional weight to get it down. I got about half the shank covered there. Take that last little nub off. There we go. And we'll use that to kind of jam that bead right up against the eye of the hook. And I have a Loon all-purpose bobbin here with some 70 Denier ultra thread in red. We're just going to cover up that lead there. Alright, now we are going to begin with this fly's namesake, some pink glow Brite thread. This stuff is pretty incredible. It really lights up. If you want to see what this stuff looks like under a UV light. I don't know how well that shows up on the camera, but it is super bright fluorescent stuff. I'm going to cut a strand of that, and then I'm actually going to cut it into 3 little sections here, and that's what we will use for our tail. So we'll take those and just bind those down behind the lead. Of course, we're going to trim that down a little bit. I'm going to trim that about even with the bend of the hook there. So just a little pink tag. Alright, now for our ribbing material, somewhere on this desk I have some small red ultra wire. You have no idea how messy this desk is right now. It is all conveniently out of camera, but I've got everything from winter steelhead stuff to trout lake stuff to Euro nymphing stuff just scattered all over the place. We got some cleaning to do. So we are going to tie in the red wire, and we're good to go. Now for our body material, we are going to use some lovely ice dub in Peacock black. We'll grab out a little bit of that and just kind of twist that on the thread. Ice dub can be tricky sometimes. It's a little coarser. If you're having a hard time getting it to stick to the thread and form a nice noodle, don't be afraid to put a little bit of dubbing wax on there. So try to get a nice slightly tapered body. There we go. And then we'll go ahead and wrap our red wire rib the same direction. Usually get 4 or 5 turns of that wire. Go over the top of it a few times and then just rock that back and forth till it breaks. Alright, so far so good. Pretty easy fly. We're gonna get to the one potentially tricky part here. I'm going to go ahead and form a small loop with my thread. We'll go around the base a couple of times because we're going to do a dubbing loop here. And guess what? We are not putting dubbing in the dubbing loop. Got my little stone faux dubbing twister thingy here. We are going to do a collar of black CDC. This is just the hairline CDC. This stuff is super buggy, has lots of movement in the water. And what I'm going to do is just kind of try to trick those fibers into standing out perpendicular to the stem so that I can grab them in my Swiss CDC multi-clamp tool. Now that they are nice and secure in there, I'm going to just very carefully cut those fibers away from the stem so they're nice and fairly even there. And then I've got my CDC securely held in the multi-clamp tool. We will then carefully slip that into our dubbing loop. And then spin that up. And we'll go ahead and wrap this on, and this is going to be our little bit of hackle on this fly. We can tie that off with a couple of wraps. And then trim that off. And then I'm going to make sure I've got all my CDC kind of sweeping rearward. We'll just take a couple thread wraps over it. That came out about the length I wanted. I like mine going back about to the tail. If it does end up too long, some CDC feathers are going to be longer than others. You can simply pluck it and pinch it and get it down to the length you want. Don't worry about getting it perfect to get in there from the inception. We'll then take just a wee bit more of our Peacock Black ice dub. And finish that off. I'm going to take a few wraps. I intentionally use red thread to give myself kind of a little hot spot around the bead as well. And then we'll brush our thread with super glue. Take a few wraps, and then I can dig out my whip finisher from the bottom of the pile. We'll go ahead and whip finish. So that Glow Brite thread comes in all sorts of different colors. You can do a fluorescent red tag, an orange tag. This flies a lot like the blowtorch fly. That works very well. This thing sure did a number on whitefish in the Nooksack this winter. But great kind of all-purpose attractor. Euro nymph pattern. You certainly don't have to just fish it on a Euro nymph rig, but that is definitely my preferred way to do it. Anyway, there you have it, the pink tag. You can find the materials for this and many other flies at the Confluence Fly Shop in Bellingham, Washington. Thanks for watching, and please be sure to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We'll see you on the water.